and gentlemen, and welcome to Southampton's August monthly meeting. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Committeeman Harrison?
Present.
Committeeman Heston?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Rozell?
All here.
Committeeman Young?
Here.
Mayor Raftery?
Present.
Notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by posting a copy of the annual meeting schedule on the bulletin board in Municipal Complex and emailing a copy to the Central Record, Burlington County Times, Courier Post, and all those requesting copies on January 7th, 2026. Posting a copy of the agenda on the bulletin board at Municipal Complex, filing a copy of the agenda in the office of the Township Clerk at the Municipal Complex, forwarding a copy of the agenda to the Burlington County Times and Central Record, forwarding a copy of the agenda to each person who has requested copies of the regular meeting schedule. All of the above posting, filing, and mailing have taken place on August 14th, 2026.
Can I entertain a motion to adopt the minutes?
I make a motion.
Committeeman Harrison?
Yes.
Committeeman Heston?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Rozell?
Yes.
Committeeman Young?
Yes.
Mayor Raftery?
Yes. I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. Excited to see everyone here. We are also very excited to make the following presentation to you. With that said, I'll turn it over to you, Brandon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just give us a second to set up.
I think there's some chairs in the back if you guys want them.
Seats up front.
Yeah, up front.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brandon. I'm the Township Administrator for Southampton Township. And this evening, we're going to be doing a presentation entitled the Southampton Township Improvements to the Municipal Complex. If I can get you, there's one person that's not muted. Karen's phone. Right down the side, too. And then, Melanie, if you could help me with moving the slide. So next slide, please. So my opening remarks, as avid participants in our township meetings know, I've been talking about a long-term financial stability plan for the township since my first presentation of a budget, which was the 2025 budget. We are looking to leverage the fact that our debt projections, we are paying off all of our permanent debt this year. So what long-term viability can we do in order to continue to meet the services that the township residents are expecting to receive? Since that presentation, we have looked at various ways. We have talked in the 2026 budget presentation. We have talked at various meetings. We have switched professionals and advertised for new professionals and really taken the time to adequately and from a holistic perspective look at this issue as we look to addressing the concerns of the residents going forward. And as I stated earlier, at the close of this budget year, we will have fully paid off all of our permanent long-term debt. We do still have a ban, that's a short-term financing item, and I'll talk about that a little bit later as I go into the next few slides. But we have a strong capital planning and fiscal position that we can leverage as we go forward. Next slide, please. So the next slide, this is a slide straight from my 2026 budget presentation. This is looking at the township's debt service at the time of adoption of the 2026 budget. As you can see, the township historically, and this is going back 10 years, from this point 10 years back, all the way back to the 2017 budget, we've historically paid $1.25 million in annual debt service. So debt for capital projects, equipment, things like that that the township has. And this schedule looked at the potential of maximum borrowing capacity of an additional $12 million and covering a $6 million ban going forward. And this was what I put out in the 2026 budget. Our cash reserves are very good. We have a capital surplus fund balance of $224,762.32. That was at the time of adoption. Obviously, interest in the bank gains that, and we'll talk about that later. And then we have a capital improvement fund balance of $1.2 million. So these are cash reserves that the township has. We would need if we were to do a $10 million at the time. I was talking about $10 million. A $10 million bond, you would be looking at a $450,000 down payment, leaving about $977,000 left in both funds. The capital improvement surplus fund is typically used to pay down existing debt, and the capital improvement fund is to fund future debt service items that the township might have. So again, this is a snapshot from my 2026 budget presentation. Next slide, please. So for all those people on Zoom, if you could just help us out and please make sure that you're muted so we don't get background noise. We have a lot that we're adding in, and in the middle of the presentation, Melanie can't see if you're muted or not muted. This second slide is from my 2026 budget presentation, and it's talking about the capital that we did in the 2025 budget. As you might recall, we passed a $5.5 million ordinance, $2 million towards road improvement items, $1 million to transform our DPW to have one-arm bandit trash trucks and trash cans. That item has been put on hold. We are still leaving it there, and there's still a plan to move to that, but we have not ordered that item. Various DPW equipment, as you remember from the 2025 budget, I talked about that we are changing how we collect brush pickup and changing how we collect leaf pickup. You've seen the effects of the brush pickup. It's the second full week of the month, every month, instead of you calling the municipality to put yourself on a list. And the second part of that was that we will now no longer require you to bag leaves, that we would have a machine to suck it up and that you would just put it curbside. Unfortunately, we, and I know the committee has been on me about this, we have been waiting now for more than a year for this truck to come in. Our DPW director did go to the shop that is supposedly waiting for one back-ordered part. It's actually the hook that pulls up the different compartments onto the back of the roll-off, where it can pull on the leafer, it can pull on a dumpster, it can pull on a brine machine, it can pull various items on. They're still waiting for that. My hope is, and what they are now telling us, and I'll believe it when I see it because we still haven't seen this truck yet, they are saying it will be in October. So my hope is that this fall you will not be bagging your leaves. You will be utilizing, or we will be utilizing a machine that will suck it up. But again, that's subject to it getting here, and I do apologize for it being late. $1 million for various emergency services equipment. We already have a 3,000-gallon Typhoon custom pumper tanker on order and is due in November. The documents for the cabin chassis to put on the one box for an ambulance to repurpose that box has been given to me as of yesterday. We are doing our due diligence, but you will see that come out of that, the remaining money from that $1 million. You will see that coming out at the next meeting. And at the bottom, you will see, as I was stating then, $10 million was kind of the sweet spot that I was looking at for an overall project to enhance the municipal complex. Next slide, please. So what are the major issues that the municipal complex faces? These are the things that we started doing as we began after my 2025 presentation. What are we looking at? What are the constraints that we have here at the municipal building? So this is a building that was built in 1980, an addition completed in 1995. We have various ADA accessibility issues throughout the building. If you're trying to get to my office and the township clerk, you have to go up 2 steps. That might have been good back in 1980, but we have to evolve with the times. Bathroom facilities, anyone that has used our bathroom facilities know that they are outdated. We have underutilized space, about 1,000 square foot of the 6,435 square feet of this current building is underutilized or not utilized at all. If you remember, we did a shared service for municipal court. It's now up in Mansfield. We have no plans of bringing that back to the municipality because it doesn't behoove us financially to do that. So there's underutilized space within the building. Our access control system to the building is antiquated and it does not allow us to add additional users, so we are reusing fobs, and if it didn't have key fob access to a certain door, then you're not getting into that door because we have no ability to upgrade it. When you come here for the meeting, you see that we have to prop this door open for you to get into the meeting room. That is because we have no access point to actually time that door to open at a certain point, and that you have known since COVID, we've been utilizing the side entrance and not being able to use the 3 main doors that used to be serviced prior to COVID. Code compliance issues, the janitor's closet is actually located in the electrical room. Anybody knows that that's probably not a good idea. We have aging utilities. Again, for anyone on Zoom, I apologize, we do have a lot of people on Zoom, so if you could just make sure that you're muted. By showing the screen, we can't see who's muted and who's not muted. Aging utilities, the multi-units that service this building are outdated and need to be updated and replaced. And one of the things that I know former Mayor Young, Committeeman Young, has told me every single time, when are we getting that emergency generator to power this building? We do not have an emergency generator that powers this building. And we've looked at various ways to potentially get that as we went through this process. Next slide, please. So other areas of concern. We have 3 organizations that service our community to the best of their ability, and we thank them every bit for every day that they do. And we want to keep them volunteer and in their capacity with the EMS as per diem and volunteer. So 3 facilities, 2 volunteer fire departments, and 1 EMS organization that are operated out of 3 separate buildings. Building costs roughly around $50,000 annually, with the EMS saying that they're most likely north of that figure, but to get a firm number, we're just using this for budgetary purposes right now. Volunteer staffing, our fire departments are fully volunteer, and we desire for them to stay that way. Contrary to popular belief, we are hoping to help them with recruitment and retention and to continue the volunteer model here at the town. Daytime coverage, our 2 volunteer fire department are very diligent in getting federal loans or federal grants. They are working off of 2 federal grants right now that provide for staffing levels. I believe Vincent's has expired, and Hampton Lakes is going to expire at the end of the year. This is something that is phasing out, and the township at its present state can't support it for 3 different stations, but it's a model that we've seen success, and we wanted to see how we can grow it. EMS staffing is provided through full-time, per diem, and volunteer personnel. They have adequate staffing, and they're a nonprofit or not-for-profit organization that is servicing our community and is supported by us. So annually, what does the township do to support these 3 organizations? It roughly comes out to be $325,000, and it's broken up as you can see on the slides. In the capital concern, so this is not an annual basis, we have 6 primary fire apparatus, 3 at each fire station, and 4 primary ambulances. As you heard in the earlier slides, we did order a new tender pumper, replacement to 1716, which is due in November of this year. We are in the process, and we will do it at the next meeting, to re-chassis the 1781 through capital and get a new chassis mount on an existing box. And we are replacing 1782, which was totaled in an accident, and the insurance company is covering that full coverage. Melanie, next slide, please. So those are the things that we're facing. So what did we do when we first started? There was a concept that we put together of potentially demolishing this building and creating a joint building, functioning all together out of 1 building in a location right across, and I'll show it in the next slide. In talking to various professionals that we had at the time, cost constraints, things like that, looking at feasibility, looking at the environmental constraints, we have to go before Pinelands, looking at things like that. The total number north of $15 million. As you heard me say earlier, we were looking at a sweet spot of 10, potential going up to 12, in order to stay in that debt service window to have no tax impact to the residents. Next slide, please. This is the site plan, so you can see to my left, there was this big kind of, it's not really a box, but it's over top of part of the municipal building. I'll go over here real quick. So a big basin here, the joint building here, losing the playground and repositioning it to the north. And I'll talk a little bit more about it in later slides, but the township already received a state and a county grant to redo our basketball courts. It's in design phase at this point. We are basically taking the 3 tennis courts, remaining 2, and making one of the tennis courts a basketball court to expand upon our ever-growing summer basketball rec league and providing them lighting for the evening hours. Again, that is not part of the overall capital plan that I'm talking about here. It is funded through grants and the open space fund that this year we usually, as I was stating in earlier slides, of our permanent debt, $100,000 of it was coming out of the open space. That too has expired, and now there's $100,000 available in the open space fund. So this was a concept that we originally looked at. Next slide. We abandoned it. Cost constraints, environmental issues, things of that sort. It wasn't a fit. The town council or town committee looked at it and stated it's not something that we think we're going to do. We're going to go back to the drawing board. We brought in new professionals, and we came up with a 2-phase project. First phase is rehabilitation of the municipal building. Next slide, please. So here you see a blueprint of the municipal building, and I'll move closer to it. Everyone's moving in the building. So no one's happy with me, but everyone's moving. Where the clerk's office and the clerk's office and the administrator's office up here at the top right corner, 535 square feet, will be the tax office. We will have a ramp that will go up the hallway to that office and have enough. You see this circle radius. This is for ADA accessibility. A circle radius with 2 windows that when you go up and you're paying your tax bills, there's an adequate space for them, a mail room on one side, and for those members of the public that are on Zoom, if you could please mute yourself, and an IT closet on the side. When you come down that ramp, coming back to what you know as the main door, because now all 3 main doors will now be accessible. You see the break room. The break room will become the tax assessor's office. If you're going to talk about your assessed rate, things like that, the tax assessor is in this little office over here in the corner. There's not a lot of room for residents to meet. We do understand that he's part-time, but we're giving him adequate space so that when you go, you have the room to discuss your tax assessment on your property and things like that with our tax assessor. The storage room is becoming both a kitchenette and a storage area. An employee bathroom, which is currently where the utility janitor closet is, and then the utility room behind it remaining in the same spot. The stairs to the basement go this way. They go now back towards the building. So now coming back to the main entrance that everyone knows, the tax office will become the new planning, zoning, and construction with an office for the inspectors, outer office for clerical, and a storage room with rolling file system. Right now, this whole back wall is all filing for construction. That is going to be now condensed into a rolling file system. The municipal clerk will round out at the end of the hallway where the CFO's office is currently, and then you see the bathrooms are redone with a custodial closet in the front. We will keep the existing conference room, add 3 offices. These 2 office areas is underutilized space right now. It's the current EOC that the township has, and we are going to convert it to the CFO's office and an extra office space. There will be a conference room behind this door for executive session for the township committee, and then the business administrator's office. The township meeting room will have a ramp going up to the dais, be able to fit our full land development board staff or members, and have a storage room so that we're not stacking chairs at the back of the room. We'll be leaving them in the storage room and have that. So that is the overall concept design of the municipal building, we have our architect, our engineer, and our financial advisor here. They'll talk a little bit later. We are estimating around a $2 million renovation budget to complete all those items and to get this building on a backup generator. Next slide, please. This is a rendering from the exterior. We're going to give a facelift to the building. Anyone that's been to the building probably thinks, 1980, she needs a facelift. So we're proposing this as the new exterior, cleaning up and merging it and modernizing it so that it fits the area. Next slide, please. This is a 3D 360 rendering. If you just click it one more time, it will play. This will give you an overall look as we go around the building 360 and how we're proposing to modernize the exterior of the building. next slide. The next phase, phase 2, would be the construction of a new emergency services building to house both fire departments and the EMS. Next slide, please. This is, before you move it, this is a viewpoint, or that was a viewpoint coming from Retreat Road. If you were in this back corner where the playground is, facing the building. Next slide, please. So this is the interior of the building. Looking at this, we have taken multiple models that have been done and working with our professionals to meet the needs of a volunteer organization and to look to the needs to the future. You have 4 drive-through bays. Along the far wall is a bank of storage rooms with the ability, we'll have an add alternate to add a 5th bay if budgetary constraints allow. Looking at the building, starting from the top, there's a large lobby. We did a large lobby, 385 square feet. For those members of the public that are on Zoom, if you could mute yourself. We can't see all of you because we're sharing our screen, but if you can mute yourself, your feedback is interrupting the meeting.
When did we throw up?
Joseph Allen, could you mute yourself, please? So going back to the top part of the workable building, it's a large lobby. Large lobby because we want to display cabinets and things to show the history of our 3 departments that are now merging into this area. There's an IT closet in that same hallway and a meeting room with 2 storage rooms flanking it. Vincent Fire Company is a polling location and will remain a polling location by moving to the joint building. This also will be a meeting and training area for the joint organizations to do their meetings and trainings out of. And there, as you go down corridor A, you see a key fob door. The public will have access to the bathrooms, since it's a polling location and things of that sort, and you have a custodial closet there. The key fob door going to the right goes into the fire department operations area. You can see that there's a window, and we're calling it the Fire Bureau. Currently, the Fire Bureau is functioned by the state government here in town. Our proposal would be to bring it in to the municipality, petition the state to bring it here. That doesn't mean we're bringing full-time people in. Everyone around us have part-time people. This is something that would yield $60,000 to $80,000 in permit fees, and it's similar to the construction department. Money coming in has to go to the money going out of functioning that department. Same thing in construction. The money that comes in to fund the construction department has to then service the functions out of the construction department. Next are 2 other offices that could be served for line officers and chiefs of the fire department. There's a storage room here. There is a big fire operations area. There's an OEM office, an EOC conference room, and a radio room that has a window looking out into the engine bay. The EOC conference room and the OEM's office. I highlight that because this will be a versatile room this building will also too be backup, will be powered by a generator if we lose power. I also highlight it because we have worked with Congressman Conway and Senator Kim, and we have submitted a grant for upwards of $2 million for the creation of an emergency services operation out of this building, to fully fund the EOC and fully fund the operations that would be in there, the generator, things of that sort. And we hope to hear back when their budget season, around October, November, is when we would potentially hear back on those items. Going south or below the conference room, you see the EMS operations area, an outer area, and 2 offices. And then south of that is a gear room that can fit at its present configuration 24 by 24 lockers. It can get 49 20 by 20 lockers, but right now we have it set for 40 24 by 24 lockers. One of the things from the end users when meeting with them was talking about having a workout room. Prior to just a week ago, we did not have a workout room configured into this. We took a storage room and we expanded it a little bit into the gear room because we didn't feel that we needed as big of a gear room, and we were able to provide 237 square feet of fitness area. Anyone that's been in my office, it's the exact same size. So that is a starting point to where we can get for workout areas. Now going over to below the 2 public bathrooms, you will see 2 full service bathrooms, individual bathrooms that have toilet, shower, and sink for the volunteers, and then south of that is 6 bunks so we can fit 12 personnel. Obviously, we'll have to have some bunks for female only and some bunks for males. And then as you go south of that, you see a washer and dryer room, and then you see the mechanical room. The mechanical room services the water suppression system and that sort. Next to those is the EMS ready room. I'm a volunteer fireman. Volunteer firemen say they like to bunk out. You're gonna go into a bunk room and you're gonna fall asleep, you're gonna wait till the bell goes off. EMS, it's a different world. They have charts. They have things that they have to do while they're also off shift. So having a recliner, having an ability to have a comfortable space where you might watch TV or you just wanna veg out on a recliner, the EMS ready room is what we created in order to provide that environment so that they can talk about the call that they might have had, keep HIPAA concerns at a minimum because they're sharing amongst members and giving them their own space. Going above that is an electrical room. We use that. The electrical service is coming in from that side of the building anyway, so we put it there. That also gives a nice buffer in between the fire department ready room, which will have a TV, will have chairs, will have activities areas, and then it's connected to the kitchen and dining area, which will have 2 full service refrigerators, 2 stove, cooktop and ovens, and a large island with 2 dishwashers and a huge farm style sink. So that is the building that we are proposing to create to house our volunteer firemen and our EMS organization into the future. Again, it's an energy efficient building. We're not spending costs on keeping three buildings up to date. And looking at our ISO rating and things of that sort, we don't need to maintain 6 primary pieces of apparatus. We could maintain less than that in order to keep that. Centrally locating it here at the municipal building is one of the key things that we wanted to see. Again, this is in the Pinelands. We have had preliminary conversations with the Pinelands, and we will work with them to get to our final conclusion and bring this project to fruition. But having it centrally located is our main concern. You can access at any point this community in any which direction so that we can service into the future. The other items is, like I said, this is providing a versatile way of getting out to residents and providing a space that we can expand upon the duty crew program that has already been successful in the 2 fire departments by giving stipends out, by supporting and taking maybe that $325,000 and instead of $150,000 going towards allotments to each department, that we can use that for retention and keeping these per diem shifts alive. Those are our goals and what we're looking to do in this endeavor. Next slide. This is a look from the roof. You can see that we're roof mounting all the units over the flat part of the roof. Most of it is pitched, and then it's a flat roof over the engine bay. Next slide. So the top picture is a view from the back of the building. So if you came out our back door, you would be looking over at Retreat Road, and you would see this view when the building is completed. The bottom view is a view from sitting at the corner of 206 and Retreat and looking up at the complex. Next slide, please. So this is another 3D rendering of a 360 view of the facility, and I'll have Melanie play it for you. Obviously, this is only showing 4 bays. As I stated, we are looking to have an add alternate. So if building costs come in cheaper than what we expect, that we potentially could add the 5th bay. We are leaving space, as you will see when we get to the site plan, we're leaving space to allow for that to be added later on. But if we're in the middle of a build and it fits within the budget that the township has put together, it would behoove us to have that available to us and potentially add it. Thank you, Melanie. Next slide.
Is there seats up front?
This is the proposed site plan for phase 1 and 2. As I stated, the blue in the top is the basketball court. We have 2 grants from the state and the county, and we have about $300,000 in the open space fund in surplus that can support that project. We are keeping the baseball field there. We are going to rehab the tennis courts, I believe, with the grant too.
Yeah.
The section, yeah. So the 2 tennis courts that are remaining will rehab that section. You could see that we're maintaining the playground to the right of the slide. The goal at this point, since we items around the building. We are proposing, again, the municipal building's not expanding. We will redo the landscaping around, and we're proposing a new monument, flagpole, and memorial area that would be across the street. Currently, the flag is next to the complex. We would go across the street. We would have two memorial walls to honor those who have served our country and who have served our community. Have a flagpole and have a focal area that residents could come and sit and honor the memory of those that have served our country and our town. We are doing an LED sign right here with landscaping around it so that you can see it from both directions on 206. And as I said, one of the best features is that we are utilizing the three main entrances to the building. So it's no more you come to this back entrance, the door doesn't open, then you're coming around and you're trying to figure out how to get in the building. All three entrances pre-COVID will now be back open for residents to enter, and we can now utilize the parking around the building. Next slide, please. So funding sources for phase 1 and phase 2. I've talked a little bit about this as I've gone through the phases, but let's talk about it for the whole project. The municipal building renovation, we expect it to be close to $2 million. A $2 million ordinance would require a $100,000 down payment. The new municipal building, or new emergency services building, roughly $9.443 million. That is based off of $550 a square foot. We have seen bids come in at $500 a square foot. We are estimating a little bit higher. And if we did do a $9.44 million bond, it requires a $472,000 down payment. Additional funding sources available to the town, as you heard me say in previous slides, the capital improvement fund would have, after taking $472 and $100,000, would still have $680,627 left in it. And the 2025 ordinance that we passed that had the fire truck, the $2 million in roads and things like that, had a funding source for soft costs, and there's $399,000 still left in that. So roughly over $1 million still remaining in reserve funds to support the project, depending on what the bidding comes in at. Next slide, please. So this is similar to my 2026 slide that I had earlier. This is the new slide. We have Sherry here from our financial advisors, Phoenix, to answer any questions as we get to professionals, but you can see the new debt amortization going out to 2035. I'll go over a little bit further out in the next slide. But you can see capital surplus fund balance has grew to $230,000. That's as of April. Interest continues to accrue in that. We put $50,000 in capital improvement fund in the budget this year, so there's $1.25 million in that fund. And if we leave it, as I said, we would have $680,000 left. As I said earlier, we historically, going all the way back to 2017, have had an annual debt service of $1.25 million. 2025, we paid $1.247. In 26, we paid $1.252. I'm proposing a balloon payment, that band that I talked about earlier. We have the 5.5 from 2025. We still have a 2021 band that has, I think it's $1.7 million left in it, Sherry, roughly. I'm proposing putting a balloon payment down, $978,000 next year, to pay it off before we permanently finance the overall bond. That would have an interest to pay off the band of $188,951. I'm proposing using the capital surplus. As I told you earlier, capital surplus is used to pay down existing debt. So I'm gonna take that money that we've been building up, use it to pay down that balloon payment. So the difference in 2027 is $1.5 million, $268,000 north of the $1.25 million that I've been talking about as our sweet spot annually, and using our capital fund balance to pay the majority of that down. By the time we get to that point, we'll be off by about $16,000 based off of the interest that's coming in. We are hoping to permanently finance in April of 2027. So leaving us about $16,000, $18,000 of item that we would have to fund within the budget. Or we can pull it from the $680,000. By then we would have already had, and the architect will talk about timing, but we would already had numbers in for what we are proposing. And then you could see how going out to 2035, in 2028, 1.26, 1.29, 1.24, and so on. Next slide, please. This is the debt amortization provided by Phoenix. This is a snapshot look. You could see that the debt service would go all the way out to 2047 and go from the 1.25 all the way down to 1.15 by 2047. So showing the amortization, how we would pay that off. Next slide, please. So closing remarks. The township set out in 2025, as I said, to create a long-term vision to continue to provide the services that you've come to expect to move us into the future. We also had an issue that we wanted to make sure that we're helping our volunteers continue to thrive. Federal grants running out means that we need to try and support. Adding additional money to the budget becomes cumbersome. $100,000 is a penny to you as the taxpayer. So when you talk about a penny increase in your taxes, that results in $100,000 in the overall budget. And that's between school, county, and so on. The township has kept its taxes flat due to our financial position over the last 3 years. This will continue to allow us to keep it flat. Operational costs will go up, and you will see a steady and manageable increase with that, but the debt service burden will remain the same. And that's what I mean by that the debt service tax burden would remain flat and not have a burden to the residents. So no long-term tax impact due to the fact that we're leveraging that position. Strengthening our emergency services by consolidating emergency services into one single modern energy efficient facility, we will allow us to efficiently ensure that our volunteers have a facility, have the equipment, and have the resources necessary to continue their mission of serving and protecting our residents into the future. Modernizing the municipal building will allow us to provide a refreshed building that's servicing the residents, getting it ADA compliant, getting it energy efficient, and redoing interior items like getting the janitor's closet out of the electrical closet. So this is the township's long-term plan. We've been putting it together for the past 2 years. You can see we've made some changes, we've made some items. This is what we are proposing, nothing more, nothing less, and this is what we present to the town. Caveats, because I know some came up from end users of the 3 departments. The township has no plan for any of the 3 buildings. Those 3 buildings are owned by the associations. As you know, we spend money to keep the old town hall open, and the Historic Society has a great presentation in there to talk about the history of our town. We would encourage, if the organizations want to keep them going, we cannot insure it anymore, we cannot fund the operation of the building, but it is up to the end users on what they want to do with that building. They wish to sell it on the open market, take that money, reinvest it back into their organization, reinvest it into the heritage or helping their organization going forward. Township has no plan for those buildings. If the end users want to come to us and talk about a plan, we are open to that, but we have no plan for utilizing those 3 buildings. Those 3 buildings would come off of our resource list as insuring it and providing allotments towards it. The township will take on all costs of the new building. It's a township building. We will continue to utilize that $325,000 that we globally provide to the 3 departments to use it more efficiently in managing that building and providing resources out. Other items that have come up and been asked questions. We have a great, thanks to Committeeman Young and Committeeman Heston, a great summer concert series. When it rains, we're throwing you into the school. This building would allow us to move engines out and utilize a large engine bay here at the same location. We can make at-the-minute decisions on what we might need to do for those concerts, moving you indoors just to a building right next door. And as we stated, continuing to enhance the recreational items, keeping us within our debt service means and also being able to look into the future. As debt service comes down, more debt service can be put on for streets and roads. None of this project that we have presented to you is going to hinder our ability to continue the upkeep of roads and to continue to bring in equipment needed to service the residents. With that, Mayor, I don't know if committee members have questions, and I don't know if we're going to open up to the public or wait till public comment later.
I think it's a pretty good idea to open up to the public before we get on to the rest of the meeting.
So we will stop, for members of the public that are on Zoom, we will stop sharing the screen And the mayor will recognize you for public comment. Mayor, I do apologize. I would like to turn it over to the architect and the engineer to talk about timing if we were to move forward, and then Sherry, if you had any financing issues before we open it to the public. I did neglect to bring our professionals up. So, Mr. Garrison?
Is there anything you want to say?
Yeah. Excellent presentation. I'm proud to be here representing Garrison Architects, our second generation family business. Municipal buildings and this type of project are exactly what we do. We've been in business since 1969, and I've been in the business since 1984, hence the gray hair. Appreciate the presentation. I don't have much else to add other than basically the layout of the construction and planning and design phases, and then when will you open. So we're proposing to open the municipal building first. So the concept was to save, restore, and renovate this existing building. It's slab on grade, wood studs, got a new roof, it's got great bones, beautiful brick exterior. We're gonna fix it. So we're gutting this building to the stud, and we're going to completely renovate every system in the building. That's new finishes, new insulation, new carpet. Obviously, we're meeting handicap code and all the energy codes and efficiencies required by the current codes. But the bones from 1980 are still good, and that's why we propose to keep it. And with that, with construction, obviously, we can work within the existing shell, so we're not affected by winter conditions. There's no slowdown because of weather, because we're working within the building. So this building is first to go out for bid. It's phased with the site utilities that we're proposing into two different phases. So we have two different utility services coming in. They remain completely separate through the construction. The municipal services move out to a new location, which we're still investigating. And we start this project with public bids sometime in October and look for an award in November. Month or so to get contracts sorted and about 10 months of construction. So this building is basically down sometime in November to the following November, roughly 12 months, depending on how the bids come in, of course. Again, the total project cost we estimated for this building at $2 million, just under $2 million, roughly $300 a square foot. Again, that includes everything completely new with new security and meeting the new codes. The proposed public safety building is going to follow that, where we have Pinelands and other approvals to get in order to even start the construction on that. So that's going to bid again sometime in December and January, looking for an award, and start of construction February, March. When the weather breaks, we have a lot of site work obviously to do, get utilities in for that building. Again, those utilities will be completely separate from this building, and that can be a separate contract. So the potential is you have the municipal building renovations, 6,500 square feet, roughly $2 million contract in November, and then you have another bids due in January, and a decision to make from the contracting standpoint. Somebody can bid both projects or have them two separate projects. Then we've two separate contract documents. We can have two separate contractors working on the same site efficiently, but it also gives, of course, the incentive for one to take it all. So that building will take about 18 months to complete, which puts you into September of 28. So that's the general concept for the plan going forward. Of course, with that, we have site work and other things to do on the site to reopen this building for the end of the year, next year, November of 27. And then we'll separate and continue with the finishes inside the new public safety building. So with that,
Rakesh, we'll
one of
turn
the
over-
things I also wanted to do, I just wanted to touch on the bones of the building, but we're gonna refresh the building with a new look. Obviously, we're gonna use similar materials and methods in the two buildings, so this is a comprehensive look using that same material palette and color palette at both buildings. Thank you.
So Rakesh Darji from ERI is Special Project Engineer for the town. They are designing the basketball court, tennis court project through the grant and also doing site design. So Rakesh, I don't know if you have any.
I don't really have a whole lot. I think between Brandon and Brooks, most of the items have been covered. The idea behind the site work really is to refresh the site, preserve as many of the existing mature trees as possible. There is some vegetation that's maybe beyond it, past its prime, that we're going to be removing. We're going to be grading around the existing building as part of phase one, which is the renovation of this building. We'll grade around the site. Right now, there's some drainage issues around the foundation of the building from years of buildup of mulch and all that. So we're going to be grading that out, providing proper drainage to get the water away from the building. And we're also going to be looking at providing pedestrian connectivity really throughout the whole site. If any of you folks get a chance to come up and take a look at the site plan, you'll see there's a whole lot of sidewalk and things like that we're proposing to get folks from the various sites, various uses, I should say, playground on the firehouse, on the EMS building, the courts, and the municipal building, having that pedestrian connectivity. We are putting ADA spaces really throughout the site, so each use has its own ADA parking, and then we're also ensuring accessibility from those spaces to each of the uses, so that we're up to current codes. And the exciting part is that, we're going to also have the flagpole plaza, which Brandon spoke of, at the corner. We're sort of moving it away from this building up to the corner to encompass really the whole site as a complex, to sort of make the focal point the whole site, not just the municipal building with flagpole and a firehouse or EMS building off to the side. So really, the point is to have the whole facility as a complex as a whole. And the timing and everything, Brooks covered that, and I'll do my best to make sure we can hold up our end on that.
Sherry, I don't know, from the financing perspective, you want to give an update on the market and things that we've been looking at from a month-to-month basis of interest rates and things like that?
Sure, yeah, I can absolutely add that quickly. I think with the bond issue, as we were looking at 20 years for the bond issue in total, which would be slightly less than the useful life as well. So actually paying it off more quickly than the useful life of the building. Utilized a 3.85% interest rate on the bonds, which is slightly conservative in the market. We've been seeing the market moving around a little bit, particularly on the longer end, some concerns with inflation there. But still 385 stays to be a conservative estimate, and something we'll definitely keep an eye on, update as needed. As was discussed, this project, a lot of thought and planning going into it, and to have the debt service really to match what residents have been paying for years now without a tax increase. Thank you.
And I'll just touch, because one of the things that Brooks brought up might have precipitated a question from the audience. So a year, the municipal building now being closed. We are, as you heard, we have until November, December-ish. We are looking for a facility within the township borders. We have talked to several areas. We have investigated putting a trailer here on location. The problem is the best location, talking to our site engineer, would be over the site of the building construction of the emergency services building, because all the utilities come in from the flagpole out of the corner of retreat into the building. So it's TBD on what would happen. Our goal is to have a new location for the year here somewhere in the township. Maybe utilize township buildings that we already have. We are working out that, but that is a plan that we would vacate the building so that we wouldn't do it in phases. Cost overruns that we've seen for phasing the building, like basically moving all the employees here into the municipal courtroom while the building around us is being worked on, and then moving out is cost prohibitive. We're adding more cost to a project that we're trying to keep under an amount that we set as a goal when we went into this. So, Mr. Mayor, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you. First off, I just wanted to say thank you for all showing up. I'm thrilled with your interest, and hopefully we'll be able to answer all your questions. So let's start on this side, my left, and any questions, please fire away, or comments. Anybody on the left-hand side? How about the right-hand side? Yes, sir. Come on up.
If you could come up to the microphone, you just have to state your name and then ask your question.
Bruce Gazelle. Just curious, do you have anything on the budget for a remote location? I didn't hear anything about that.
So,
Just curious.
As I've stated in prior budget presentations, my predecessor, let's say there's fluff in the overall budget, and I've been maintaining it and keeping it so that we can keep a flat budget. There are areas within our buildings and grounds budget and things like that that would allow us to have additional funds, but it's also the funds that we wouldn't be paying primarily for this location. We would stop paying for voice and internet here. You would have a minimum cost of utilities here. The water and sewer goes to the sewers in our own plant that we pay Pinelands to take
But
care
I'm
of.
more
So
looking at if you move to another facility and had to rent that facility for a year, is that already in your budget?
the cost is covered in
That's what
the
I-
current budget.
that's
Yes,
it.
it's you'd have to go looking into
Yeah, just.
buildings and grounds and 2 other spots. We don't need to have it furnished until the 27 budget, but I will roll it into the 27.
I was just curious if it was accounted for.
Yep.
Thank you.
Anyone else on my right-hand side? Back to the left, yes.
Hey, my name's Charlie Hoffman. Obviously, you're responsible for the maintenance of the new buildings that you're going to be building. I'm hoping that you will do a better job of maintaining them than the Children's Library, the Old Town Hall, and the Telephone Museum. I understand that.
To that end, we are putting a new heating system in the children's library, and that should be started within the week. We are also seeking estimates to start repairs on Old Town Hall. The areas that we're gonna start first are the ceiling and when you first walk in, the first third of the ceiling, you can see it's coming down. We need to take that down and see what the issues are and correct that. We also plan to initially paint the metal portions that protrude outside from the building to protect them. And the other third thing we're gonna do immediately is to take care of the downspouts and gutters, so all the positive rain flows away from the building. So that is initially what we're starting right now.
I appreciate that.
You bet.
And then on another matter, funding for the ever-increasing sewer bills for the people in the village. Is that gonna go up forever and ever? Were there bonds that were taken out that eventually will be paid off and those costs will go down again?
Brendan, I'll let you answer that one.
Yeah, we will have a second public comment for general public comments. This is just the public comment portion for the presentation, but to your question, the township does have a debt service that runs out for another 10 years?
7 years.
7 years. Once that ends, it's not like we can then reduce. There's still capital items that the township needs to maintain within the Vincenttown system. So we have not seen an increase since I've come on board by me looking at the annual budget for the sewer system. But that's an ongoing item that I have to continue to look at, because the sewer system has to be self-sustaining. The amount of money brought in has to be less than the amount of money going out. If it isn't, then all the debt service, all those items capitalize into the current fund, because the utility would be considered not self-sustaining.
The rates are ridiculous.
I understand that happened.
Mr. Hoffman, I will add that the heating system that we're putting in the children's library is going to be converted to gas, as opposed to presently it's oil.
That'll help.
Yes, I hope.
And PSE&G, that's the overrun. We've had the quote now for 3 months. We've been waiting for PSE&G to cut the permit for the gas to the building. On the bill list today, I believe, is the permit fee in order to get that approved by PSE&G in order to then move forward with the work that's already been PO'd.
Any other questions on the building and the proposal that we've just laid out? Then I will go to Zoom. Melanie, could you,
Mayor, I would just make a blanket statement. Any member of the public that is on Zoom, there is a hand feature that you can press stating that you would like to ask questions about the presentation that the township just did. Please press the hand feature, and then the clerk will call out your name to recognize you for the comment. And I already can see he's a recognizable face. Mr. Holacek, why don't you go first? No, Mr. Holacek has his hand up too, doesn't he? Oh no, he has, Karen's hand is above his head.
Yeah.
So, Karen's iPhone, go ahead and unmute yourself, identify yourself, and then ask your question.
Hi, Karen Hargrave. Could we pull up the slide that shows the $325,000 per year that the town pays for the 3 buildings, please?
Yeah, they're doing screen sharing right now with this.
Ms. Hargrave, it's on the screen.
Great, thanks so much. So I just want to make clear, these 3 organizations own their own buildings, right? They pay their own utilities, they pay their own expenses. They, other than what's listed here, they are completely self-sufficient, correct?
The township pays $325,000 total. As I stated at the top of the slide, they have attributed to us that it's around $50,000 annually to run their facility. The township provides support, but they are their own buildings, and that is their responsibility to fund the building, but it is our responsibility to insure it, provide liability and workers' comp coverage, and coverage for the vehicles that operate out of it.
Do you have any numbers for how much they pay for these buildings?
These are private organizations. They provide us with an annual report that shows the costs, benefits that they use the township resources for. But again, they are private entities that, other than the information that I gained from them, that's how we get that information.
Do you have actual numbers for what it's gonna cost the town now that they're all gonna be in this one building?
There could be cost overruns. We could look at various buildings that have been created, but it's one building that would be energy efficient versus buildings that I know Deputy Chief from Vincent, how old's your building? 1974. Chief.
I'm asking the question.
Ms. Hargrave, I'm answering your question. If you would not interrupt me, please. Mr. Our Chief Fitzpatrick. 1990 for the EMS building, and I believe Chief Rathjen, you are on Zoom because you had to run out for an emergency. Your building, when was it created, Chief Rathjen? Or built? 1980s, I think I heard somebody say. I would say probably within the 70s or 80s, Ms. Karen Hargrave. So obviously they're not energy efficient.
The question was, do you have a number for how much it's gonna cost the town to operate in this new building as compared to the $325,000?
We would have to pull that for you. Clearly it's going to be lower than what we're servicing in 3 buildings. The building hasn't been created yet.
Okay, so you don't, there's no information for the public about.
The
what
township could look at Lumberton Municipal Building. They have an emergency services building that they've been functioning under the same concept. We could look in Washington Township down in Gloucester County, which has created a similar building, and pull those cost overruns and see, or those cost runs for annual. But I can tell you from past experience, the cost is drastically lower. And provides efficient services to those organizations and to the town itself.
Okay, I think the public deserves to actually have some numbers attached to what it is that you're saying is gonna be a cost savings. And my final point is, I wanna make clear, you repeated several times that doing all of this was keeping within the historic debt service levels. But I wanna make sure I understand clearly. If we didn't do this project, we would pay off the current debt. And what would happen? Would not our taxes go down? It's like paying off your credit card, like we paid off the credit card, so now we're just incurring additional debt. How about we don't incur additional debt and lower our taxes?
Ms. Hargrave, when you pay off your credit card, what happens to your credit score? Credit score goes down because you have no credit. I can pass it over to Sherry. We had Phoenix Advisor come in to explain the financial impact. Not having any debt service to the town and then 5 years down the road going and getting debt would destroy our credit rating and then cost us probably double an interest rate if we were to do that, because we don't have a history at that point of paying debt and being responsible with our debt payments. So I would argue that paying off your debt service doesn't behoove the township in a sense that it would harm us, because there will eventually be a need to capitalize a fire truck, to capitalize a DPW truck, to continue to enhance the Red Lion outdoor facility that we cherish and that our youth organizations are using. I would say a bad financial practice would be paying it off.
So, okay, so you're saying that maintaining debt, but always over the long term, is in the town's best interest. So our taxes are never gonna go down.
The local taxes have remained flat for 3 years. I can't speak for the other entities. They have constraints. They have state funding that doesn't come in and things like that. So it's not really to their fault of what potentially might happen. But I would say that the Township Committee and the Township of Southampton have historically kept its rate very stagnant. We've continued to grow when we need to from an operational standpoint, and we've been frugal in managing our budgets, and we have a more than decade track record in doing so.
Anyone else?
Okay, I just wanna clarify though, if it wasn't for that issue and incurring this additional debt, we could lower our taxes.
At a detriment to our long-term success, yes.
All right, thank you.
Next is Elaine and Patrick Kennedy. You can unmute yourself. You've already identified yourself, and then you can ask your question.
Hi, my name is Patrick Kennedy. I'm in Beatrice Road. The question I have several questions. My primary question is, if you're going to put out $9+ million to build a facility for the fire and EMS, why wouldn't we take the buildings that they already have to offset the cost to build the new building? That's number one. Number two.
Can I answer your questions in part, Mr. Kennedy?
Go ahead.
So the reason why the township doesn't, we have a mechanism. We can take it in eminent domain. But I would be ashamed of myself, and I think the committee members would agree with me, that if we did that to the hardworking volunteers, who I can tell you from experience, my grandfather was part of a fire department. I'm a third-generation fireman. Those firemen put up their mortgages to make sure there was collateral to keep fire departments going, or to move them, or to provide enhancements to them. And I don't know the specific story to our 2 fire departments and our EMS, but I do believe that there's probably similar stories there. And as I stated, the township has no plan for those buildings. What they do with them is what they wish to do with them. I could speak from experience from when I was in Lumberton. Lumberton's fire department sold its building and utilized those resources to provide additional equipment to serve the town. I believe that our volunteers are good stewards of their money. They have managed their buildings and been frugal and efficient. We want to continue to emulate that, and that's why we have no plan of taking their buildings. If they wish to talk to us about it, that's fine. We will clearly talk with them, but the caveat is we will not continue to fund the building or insure it. If they wish to continue to operate, they would have to do it at their own expense.
Okay, question number 2 was in reference to the debt service. You said that we're eliminating basically throughout the town. You still have the Burlington County Bridge Commission debt for the sewer system in the village.
That is a separate fund, yes.
I understand that, but it's still money that the township owes. So you're not eliminating all your debt.
Mr. Kennedy, I can't, it's a separate fund. The township cannot mix and mingle money. There's only the village that is serviced by the utility. The Middlesex Water and Sewer Services Leisure Town, that's handled separately through them. But I can't mix and mingle township money that is provided by tax dollars to then pay a utility fund. It has to be paid by the utility fund. So state law does not allow me to do what you're suggesting.
That's very interesting because for 20 years, the township never increased the fee, the user fee for the village, for the residents of the village. But they spread that fee out to all of the township residents. For 20 years, there was no increase. So you do control the budget.
I'm unaware of the situation that you're referring to, sir.
I gave you a brochure a couple of years ago, and I addressed the committee on this very issue, where the township residents outside of the village have been paying for the user fee.
The only user fee.
Of the village.
The only user fee that the township pays in its bill list is for our municipal complexes. We are still a user to the utility, so we have to pay the annual fee and the usage fee, and that comes out of the bill list, and that comes out of a dedicated fund that the tax dollars pay for. But that's the only tax dollar item that goes towards the utility, but that is because we are a user of the utility at our municipal buildings.
Okay, I'll come back to that later. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Is anyone else? I see that there's only the 2 hands for Karen's iPhone and Elaine and Patrick Kennedy. Does any other member of the public on Zoom have a question with regards to the PowerPoint presentation that was just given? Joseph Allen, you just raised your hand. You can unmute yourself, identify yourself, and ask your question.
How's it going? Joe Allen. Sorry for my dog puking earlier in
It's okay. I have a 2-year-old and a dog at home, so I'm used to it.
Some rumors that they're. Yeah, absolutely, you understand. I appreciate that. Is there truth to the rumors that there's going to be a number of paid positions that did not previously exist? And I apologize if I missed that discussion.
I do not know where that rumor came from, but through the presentation and the overall concept plan that the township has put together, other than potentially taking back the fire bureau from the state fire marshal's office who currently does it, which would only precipitate potentially bringing 1, maybe 2 part-time inspectors. And as I explained during the presentation, the fire bureau is the same as the construction office per their statutes. The money that comes in has to go towards the services that are going out to run those services. So other than that, the township's goal in this is to continue a duty program, a per diem duty program that the federal government has maintained for us in recent years, and to continue our volunteers moving into the future. As Mr. Garrison stated earlier, this is about a 2-year build out. We will work with our volunteers about how we're going to transition into this joint building. That is the next 2-year process. Response times, which I have not gotten into because the OEM has a preliminary report, but we are going to give a full comprehensive report at a later meeting talking about that. So that will be discussed, but we have 2 years to go over that and prepare for that. But I will state emphatically and for the record that the rumors that have been spread and phone calls to the township building are false, and the township is not creating a paid fire chief position. We need workers. I think all the firemen out there looking at me know this. We need guys going into the call, going into the fire, fighting the fire, and protecting our residents, first and foremost, and that's what this per diem program does. It gets the guys on the truck, gets them out to the call, and making sure that they have the resources needed to effectively and efficiently answer those calls and keep our residents safe. So again, no paid fire chief. There was never a plan for a paid fire chief, period, end of story.
Don't forget
Fire guys and gals. The correct terminology, firefighters. The fireman in me is coming out, and I apologize.
Putting those rumors to bed. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, Mr. Allen. Next is we have a, that says iPhone. So iPhone, if you could unmute yourself and lower your hand and identify yourself and ask a question.
Hi, my name is Carla Hahn. My question is, how would the response time of the fire department be affected with moving the location to like fringe areas like Tranquility or Oxford Circle?
Chief, I don't know if you want to just talk preliminary of what you and I have talked about right now. So I'm going to invite Chief Fitzpatrick Ruth, the chief of Hampton Lakes Emergency Squad, but he's also our Office of Emergency Management Director, speak to our preliminary review, and then, as I stated earlier, we will do a more comprehensive review at a later date so that we can explain these items over the next 2 years as these things will move forward.
Preliminarily looking at some of the response time data we've gathered from the emergency squad. Gathering some of the data we've used from the emergency squad, we've, over the past 4 years or so, gathered data using the municipal building as a staging site for one of our ambulances, as well as our base station over in Hampton Lakes. In total, of all those calls that we've taken from both sites, we've seen an increase in response time to some portions of town, specifically where you're talking about over in Tranquility and some parts of Leisure Town, of around a minute or so. That's from an ambulance perspective. Staffed in-house, ready to respond constantly. Other areas of town, we've seen a reduction in response times of 5 to 6 minutes. That would be mobile estates, even here in the village, coming from our base in Hampton Lakes, compared to using the municipal building as a staging location. So we continue to look into those numbers. We're going to dig into them a lot deeper, but you can expect overall there will be a dramatic reduction in response time on average.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, sir.
And again, we recognize that this is a question that residents will ask. And as the chief talked about, for several years, the township has a hookup here at the municipal building that the fire or that the EMS rig can hook up instead of running with gas and everything, and function out of this building in the need of if the ambulance is out and to try and be in a centralized location to reach the next call that might potentially come out throughout the town. A lot of factors do go into response times, and we want to make sure that we're taking our time to go through those. Some of the things that do affect our response times, thankfully, that Leisure Town allows for the back gate and access points to get into Leisure Town. Sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't, but it does help with response times. So we will take into effect all those parameters and provide a comprehensive review. Because, as we stated, this project was to enhance the service. It's also to make sure that the service remains the same, if not better, that you've expected. We don't want to do something that might cause a degradation in the actual response time or something of that sort, or the services and care that you're given. So this is a holistic approach. Today is talking about the financial impact and the overall long-range plan that the township has put together, and we will have subsequent meetings that we will discuss the nitty-gritty of these items as we go forward. Mr. Mayor, Carla, did that answer your question, and do you have any other questions?
It did answer my question, but I also want to just point out that we don't have water here. So it would have, like, trucks with water would have to come as well. So I just want to make sure when you're factoring those things in that you're factoring that in as well.
One of the things that we had from bringing the line officers together for a meeting was talking about our exterior areas of the town. We had a call down on Fire Lane, and mutual aid arrived first, just due to their location. We have mutual aid agreements. We will continue to maintain those mutual aid agreements. The Township Committee has later on in the agenda an expansion of water connection through New Jersey American, specifically just to properties that hit Route 38 or Pemberton Road. We are not expanding beyond those areas, but looking along that corridor, that will allow for us to have hydrants along that corridor. Richards Trailer Park had a severe fire over the winter during one of our major snowstorms that resulted in multiple apparatus going there, and that same situation, Carla, that you brought up, no water access and providing tankers. That's why the township ordered a new tanker for, and guys, I always get it wrong, what's, for instance, tanker 16, which is due in coming in November, and I believe it's 6,000 gallons of a tank? 3,000 gallons of a tank. So the commitment to the resources needed to service our rural community is still entertained in this concept plan.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Carl. Thank you for your question. I see no other new hands that have gone up. Anyone else before the mayor closes public comment?
Yes.
Yes.
Jane Kennedy?
All right, Mr. and Mrs. Kennedy, you've already asked your questions. Is it relation to the presentation or is it a general public comment?
This is in relation to I did not speak. This is in relation to what you just proposed on those buildings.
Okay, go ahead.
When you consolidate the fire companies as well as the EMS, you're gonna rename it, aren't you? And that means new trucks or repainted trucks. What are you gonna do about all that? And
No.
their equipment, everything, all their equipment they have uniforms. They're all gonna have something on them.
The township is not proposing renaming or renumbering the apparatus. Obviously, through the next 2 years, we will talk about the primary piece of apparatus that we believe need to stay in service to keep our ISO rating and to service the town. I would say that I would hope that we would keep individual names for maintaining the heritage of these departments. I would say potentially an emergency services moniker or Southampton Emergency Services, but that would be done through attrition of equipment and things of that sort. There would be no added expense added to this item to rename items unnecessarily.
Okay, that happened in another town also, and they changed the name, am I correct? I was concerned about that.
I don't know which town you are talking about, but in talking to the line officers, we have made it a point that we want to maintain the heritage. This is about efficiency. This is about providing current resources in a better fashion to continue to enhance the volunteer service that the township has.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Mayor, that is it for Zoom. You can close public comment and we can move on with the meeting.
Before I do that, is there anyone else who has anything else to say or comment? All right, then thank you so much for coming and thank you for your attentiveness. So I will close the portion of public comment on the presentation and get to our mundane remaining business.
Mr. Mayor, I don't know, again, we have business. Welcome to stay. I know a lot of people came for the presentation. Should we take a 5-minute break real quick? So if you do wish to leave, I can excuse the professionals, and then we'll go into the main meeting.
Does anybody in the committee have anything to say before folks leave?
Yeah, I'd like to say something.
All right, sorry, Committeeman Young.
I would like to see us do a study on how many people come in this township building each day before we spend all this money.
That study was requested, Committeeman Young, and we have been keeping track of it for the past month. We're looking to do it for 3 months and then provide that back to you.
Who's doing the study?
The municipal clerk volunteered to do it. So So she's been maintaining, we have security cameras that are outside of her office that she can see as people are coming in. We also can look at the receipts for items paid, permits paid, and look at that sort. So all those items, we will look at a quarter, 3 months worth, and then provide that report back as you requested.
Wouldn't pay in, have a professional doing it?
I mean, the end user is our staff, and we have abilities to really provide those numbers because there are receipts and documented items that talk about when people come to the building and what services that they are getting provided. So each department knows to review. We are reviewing it from the security cameras and keeping a daily count.
And then like on the fire company, the first aid squad building, I would like to make sure that both fire companies and the squad are in agreement to this before we do anything.
Okay. Right.
Anyone else? Ronald?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like the public to know that we as a committee have met with 2 different architectures, well, I had 3 architects. One we had hired, and it wasn't working out in the interest of Southampton Township. We terminated that contract, but utilized the work that that architect had done. And then we interviewed other architects. And when we had a meeting with the one that the committee settled on, we had a big discussion on pros and cons and what should be done, how it should be done, location of where it should be done. So while we as a committee are sitting here very quiet, because everything that we proposed has been put into these plans. So if you think we don't care, we're just listening and we're going along with it, we've had a lot of input. And I think you need to know that indeed, we're not taking this lightly, and we're very concerned about the financing. I know I personally am, because I watch every dollar. And the way this is being laid out, it's being laid out to the benefit of the residents of Southampton. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ronald. We'll take a 5-minute break. How's that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have 2 ordinances on second reading this evening. The first ordinance is ordinance 2026-6, an ordinance of the Township of Southampton, County of Burlington, State of New Jersey, creating a claimant certification exemption. As I explained before when we did this for introduction, this was a request by our new part-time CFO and QPA, stating that there are certain individuals that we don't need them to continually sign for the PO for services rendered, so we can move things faster. This is creating that policy that the state already allows us to maintain. I would need a motion and a second, and then open it up for public comment.
I'll make the motion.
That's it. Second.
Any public comment on this?
Specific to just this ordinance.
No?
We can close public comments and do a roll call.
Raymond Harrison?
Yes.
Raymond Heston?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Rozell? Yes. Committeeman Young?
Yes.
Mayor Actor?
Yes.
Next is an ordinance 2026-7, an ordinance granting consent and permission to New Jersey American Water Company, Inc., to furnish potable water in portions of the Township of Southampton. As I stated earlier, this is an ordinance to allow, and when you read the ordinance, you can see the block and lots. These are items that are, lots that are touching Route 38 or Pemberton Road in the corridor that we created as a redevelopment zone, not going any
Route
further.
38/530.
530. And looking at that redevelopment corridor and only that redevelopment corridor. I would need a motion and second, and then open it for public comment.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Public comment? Yes, Dr. Rozell.
Hi, good evening. Doug Meligari, Southampton. I had a question about, you mentioned Route 530 or Pemberton Road. Is there any protection in this ordinance so that the road, if it does get dug up for the water work, that it will be repaved or resurfaced? There was so much time and money spent to make sure that this road was in safe condition for the residents, and it's a good road now.
You're talking 530.
530, yeah.
I believe, in talking to New Jersey American, that it's in the right of way, it's not actually in the road, but I could, check that. Because it's in the public right of way, the state requires that it either be a public entity like that or, a private entity like such as them, or a public entity like NMUA. I don't believe it's actually in the road, but I can double check.
I think that's important, because that's a good road. The project was first conceived, from what I looked up, in 2006, and they finally awarded the paving of it in 2017. I think it just finished in 2022, right after the peak of COVID, and it's a good road. And I use it a lot of the residents use it, so I think that's important. And I also just want to make sure that absolutely the town is protected east of 206 by allowing the water company to cross over 206, because if I was a smart water businessman, I would say, let's run it up to, Birmingham Road, and then let's get the Ridge Tree hooked up and Burrs Mill, and I don't want to lose my well water.
So the ordinance only permits the usable area that was discussed with New Jersey American. It does not permit them to go any further. I'll leave it to the lawyer for the legality, but they would not be able to expand without us passing another ordinance allowing them to expand the area.
Okay, that's absolutely in stone.
Yeah. Mr. Morse?
Yeah.
I'm not the lawyer.
It's in writing, not in stone.
And then my final question is, when this came up last month, Mr. Mayor, you had said that this goes along well with our redevelopment plan. Is there a possibility to see what that plan entails, what you have in mind?
Sure, it's a public record. You can gladly look at that. I think we created that in 2002, maybe?
It's on the website.
2022?
Yeah, the study was done more than 5 years ago, I believe, and it would be, I believe it's on our website, but I can double check.
I'd like to see. But those were my questions. Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, then I'll close public comment. No?
Committeeman Harrison?
Yes.
Committeeman Heston?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Rozell? Yes. Committeeman Young? Mayor Rafter?
Yes.
Next, Mayor, I have resolutions. I'm gonna have to do some of them separate. So Resolution 2026-101, a resolution of the Township of Southampton authorizing payment number 5 to the contract with respect to the 2025 Local Roads Program. This is the next payment installment for the roads that were completed in Leisure Town. We still, I believe, have one more payment plus a retainership that would need to go through. I need a motion and a second to authorize.
Make the motion. Second.
Committeeman Harrison?
Yes.
Committeeman Heston?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Rozell? Yes. Committeeman Young?
Yes.
Mayor Rafter?
Yes.
Next is Resolution 2026-102, a resolution authorizing entrance into the contract extension with Hudson Energy. As I was explaining earlier before we started the meeting to some of the committee members, the township has historically used Hudson Energy as a co-op to provide the source of energy that is provided by the 3 electric companies. You buy it in bulk through this. You have a contract until September of 2027. There was, due to the volatility of the market, a review. We've reviewed it with staff and look historically at what we've got from this. It's always been historically lower. The law does require that it has to be lower than what the PGM rate would be, or we can get out. And it is locking us in for 2 additional years. So from September of 27 to September of 28, then September of 28 to September of 29. There was an option to do 3 years. I don't think it behooves us at this time. Let's lock in for 2 and then see what the market yields over the next 3 years. I would need a motion and a second to authorize.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Committeeman Harrison?
Yes.
Committeeman Heston?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Rozell? Yes. Committeeman Young? Mayor Rafter?
Yes.
Resolution 2026-103, a resolution urging a comprehensive and independent investigation and performance audit of New Jersey Electric Utilities.
Can you read that? Or have someone read it?
The main premise of the resolution, there is, hold on, let me get the group.
Or how about a short synopsis of it?
So basically, this is asking, not just based off of our power outages that we have seen here and that the township has sent several letters and requests to the BPU for a review of JCP&L. This is an overall review done by the Board of Public Utilities into the electrical utilities that are serviced within the state. It's due to cost increases across the board that we have seen, and also infrastructure related issues that have come about. A group sent this to various mayors throughout the community and requested that we pass it. It does fit to the needs that Southampton is already doing in regards to JCP&L. We do have a rate hearing on the complaint coming up. We have filed a letter and filed an appearance in that rate item. But this would be a separate study that we are asking the BPU to do more globally over all electric services.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on that? No? I'll entertain a motion.
Did you make the motion?
Second. Committeeman Harrison?
Yes.
Committeeman Heston?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Roselle?
Yes.
Committeeman Young? Mayor Raftery?
Yes.
The next two resolutions I'll bulk together. Resolution 2026-104, a resolution authorizing the tax collector to adjust an account pursuant to a totally disabled veteran exemption, and Resolution 2026-105, a resolution of the Township of Southampton making certain further adjustments in the tax collector's records and accounts. Need a motion and a second for both resolutions.
It's cut and dry. Make the motion.
I'll second it.
Committeeman Harrison?
Yes.
Committeeman Heston?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Roselle?
Yes.
Committeeman Young?
Yes.
Mayor Raftery?
Yes, with a thank you to the veteran for their service.
Next is approval of bills, Mayor.
I will
Make a motion to approve the bills as presented prior to this meeting.
Second.
Committeeman Harrison?
Yes.
Committeeman Heston?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Roselle?
Yes.
Committeeman Young? Mayor Raftery?
abstain. Okay, we are to the point of privilege of the floor. So once again, my left or your right, anyone on the left-hand side have any comments or questions?
The lamp poles in town, y'all go through town at night?
You want to identify yourself and your address?
Grade 6, 152 Main Street.
Thank
We have a lot of lights out on the poles in town. And North Main too, the big wooden poles, but the lamps, the PSNG. I have gone on their website and posted either the number of the pole or what house it's in front of, but there's like 20 of them out. You go down by the bank, the one right next to the bank, the one across the street from the bank, down from the Historical Society building, one across, one right in front of, they're happy. And, so who takes care of that?
So we have to put it in as well, when we get them reported to us, and then usually I do a follow-up email. I have a representative. and
Yeah, they
it's-
drive through town at nighttime and they break down the pole.
Yeah, so if you
Okay.
provide me with the numbers that you've already given them, I
So
can
you're
do a
telling me
follow-up.
I need to go out, I'm 75 years old, and I need to go out at nighttime. I've seen it, drive through town.
you. Tell you what, I will volunteer to do that.
Good, I'm glad, thank you. Okay, the sewer substations, how long does it take to pay for them? How long?
Depends on their debt service.
Well, we, as the village people, are, yeah, sounds fine. YMCA. But we have
large shoe goods. Mine's $400-some, my sister's over $300-some every quarter. That's $700 on top of taxes. Who cares?
I can't change the debt amortization schedule that's already in place. There isn't a chance to refinance since there's only 7 years left in the debt service, but once the debt service is over, then the township would have to do a review to see what other items need to be maintained.
Well,
I can't lower and then risk the township then having to have to take on the debt.
think my social security is gonna go up any, or my
Right, you
pension?
can't lower it anyway, because it was part of the.
Was it part of the
County
county's?
fund.
Yeah, that's,
Can't
so
be
I
amended.
can't, it's not even our own debt, so it's the county's debt that the township.
And yet, me, the resident, has to pay. Okay, Memorial Day Committee this past year. In the past, we've had like 10 people on that committee. This year, we had 4. Mayor Raftery, Mr. Umbuck, Vice Clerk, and Administrative Assistant, your daughter. How come? Why didn't we have more people? Mr. Heston?
Is on the committee.
He wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't on it this year.
I was told point blank, I'm not on the committee, but I was called into the meeting.
My son, Jim, has been the master ceremonies for 12 years.
And your husband before that.
And my husband was on it, yes. He's now deceased, but why? Why just 4 people?
Was there something wrong with the celebration this year?
Well, there's usually 3 meetings, right, Mr. Heston? 3 meetings at least, starting in April, then a couple in May. And I was almost getting the impression that does Memorial Day matter? That's pretty sad.
Trust me, young lady.
I know you're a
Memorial Day
veteran.
matters to me tremendously.
Thank you.
And for you to infer that it doesn't.
Well, I'm sorry.
I take that as an insult.
Well, I'm sorry about that.
All right.
But 4 people, you and your daughter, Mr. Umba, Mayor Young's granddaughter, why? 4.
Again, I
We
asked
need
you,
more
was there
preparation.
something that didn't go off?
Well,
as-
did it flow through town? Only certain people care about Memorial Day. I'm one of them. My husband was a veteran like you,
Mhm.
and more than 4 people need to be on it.
Okay. I'll take that under advisement. Anyone else?
We're on this side, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Kevin Gary again, Southampton. First, I wanted to let the committee know that Verizon has written to your residents, including myself, that they are discontinuing copper landline service in the township October 23rd. And let me tell you, we spoke last month about emergency management. One of the only things that worked in the eastern part of the township during Irene and Sandy and that snowstorm we had earlier this year, blizzard, was the copper landline. Cell phone service is non-existent in the eastern part of the township. So I'm hoping, I thought it was a fabulous resolution, Mayor, that you did tonight on JCP&L. Maybe something can come out about Verizon. It's still in flux, according to the letter. They are still waiting for FCC approval to do this. So maybe there is something you can do to try to stop the copper landline from going away. I don't know where things stand about bringing Verizon fiber optics into the town to give an option. The only other option listed in the letter is that a mobile system, which isn't gonna work. We've tried the mobile several times. There's just no cell service in the eastern part. So I'd like that to be a consideration. The other thing that I had is this committee, a couple years ago, before Brandon's time, tried to get a turn arrow out here at the traffic light. Mr. Heston, you had a big part in doing that. I saw some of your figures tonight. I'm wondering can this committee maybe move that up and maybe try to get that turn arrow finally funded? I don't know if you've given up on your legislative efforts to get it approved, but I think it's really needed. And if you're talking about bringing even more development into the town, and I'm not pining on whether that's good or bad, but that's more traffic, and I think it's needed. I can tell you, I waited 2 weeks ago to make a turn there at least 5 minutes. It just was a continuous pipeline of traffic. So I think you need to look at that. And also,
If I may add,
oh yeah,
it's not dead.
okay, good,
We're trying with the new administration, and she won't spend the money.
okay.
If we spend the money, they'll allow us to put it in. But they won't even pay a dime to operate it.
Part of what the township is looking to do is that there is, what, lack of a better word, a clicker system, so that when there is an emergency, if the fire department EMS is here at the complex, that there would be a clicker system. Usually the firemen load up and you're pulled out. You could click the light so that the light would turn green facing retreat where the fire trucks are coming from. Those are items we do not need to go before DOT for approval because we're far enough away from them. That is the item that we are trying to utilize as part of asking for the turn signal, is that we need that clicker service to allow, if there's an emergency services organization here, we have a better pull with the state DOT because the emergency services would be located here and they want to be able to get it onto the state highway faster. So I think we, by doing this, we will have a better opportunity for success.
And if not, will the committee spend, I think the last estimate was 25,000?
It has to be approved. If DOT doesn't allow us to put it on their pole, it doesn't happen.
I see.
We already are in commitment to paying for the electric that goes to it. We already pay for it. We pay for the electric.
Right.
That services that light. In the end, it would be up to the state to approve that the light actually be changed. It would be at our expense to provide the facility or the equipment necessary to do that change, but necessitates a DOT approval.
I'm glad to hear that hasn't died.
3 years ago, maybe 4, time goes quick when you get older. The state said if we put up $25,000, they will do a study to see if it merits it. And if it merits it, in their opinion only, they'll see about putting it in. There wasn't even a guarantee that if it merits it. And we tried that it's a major turn for school buses, could care less.
We're adding
DOT
fire trucks and
said-
ambulance. We think we're gonna get it past this time.
All right, and finally, faded striping. This road out here, Retreat Road, the striping is faded. New Freedom Road, portion of Ridge Road. Out here, I would say it's very important because it's a road that goes right to Leisure Town. And I think nighttime driving, for some folks is important to make sure it's safe. And Ridge Road, a lot of people passing on double yellow line, but it's fading. So, and it is everywhere. So I'd like to see that, and I know I said final, but I have one more.
Well, I'll answer it real quick so that it was in a budget presentation. The township has a DOT grant for Ridge from Retreat back, and then from Retreat at Ridge to, and I never remember the name, I just remember it as the old Eckenhoff farmhouse at the top of the hill. So the Eckenhoffs were always there, so that's how I remember it. To get us to old Eckenhoff farmhouse, we, as part of this project, will look at the exterior and looking at Retreat and things of that sort. The problem is I can't touch those bridges, they're county bridges. So we can do a lot of this. It's gonna take us 2 years to get to that point. Getting up to Old Eckenhoff Farm, I do think, through design and everything else and cost, we should get to as part of this grant project that we are currently designing. But going beyond is when I'm gonna start getting into a sticky situation, waiting for the county to do what they need to do to the bridge before we do anything else. If not, the worst thing I wanna see is us pave all the way to the bridge and then pave past the bridge, but I can't touch the bridge. So if it does come to that, that will be what happens. But as part of this project, we do want to do the remainder part of retreat. Retreat would be completed. That's phase 5, then this would be 6. So it would be completed at that point.
Is there temporary striping that could be put down to make it safe?
We've talked about, going in and doing the thermal striping wouldn't be an option. We've started looking to see if it's something that DPW could do. We're only gonna be able to get the center line due to the erosion on the either side.
I think that's the most important part.
But erosion has caused problems, but when we redo the road, as we go through the bend past the bridge, would be addressed by the contractor.
I think the center is the most important. And then the final thing is 120 block of Burrs Mill. The shoulder is sinking in, and there's also a sinkhole in the middle of the road. Public Works comes by every few weeks, fills it, and the holes get deeper and deeper. So if you could address that. I think it was a 120 block of Burrs Mill. But I think this has been the best meeting all year. Questions got answered. There was a good presentation. So I really commend you. I think this meeting went very well compared to the last one, even though it's not over yet. But
Give us time. Anyone else?
I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Who does this new road belong to?
Come on up and front.
New road.
New road is a township road.
But, all right, so who paves it?
The township would be responsible for
So
paving.
why aren't they doing it?
So, it is on, there has been a presentation in the 2025 budget when we did put $2 million aside for roads. We had Alimo Associates, who was our town engineer, do a street study. New road was, from recollection, was listed in orange, so medium grade. Falcon Drive, that community back there, was put in front of new road in red.
Where is that
So,
road? I don't even know that one.
So if you go Ridge to New, and then that community right there. So that area, part of the $2 million also went into Leisure Town. Probably the older section in the front, closer to 70. A number of roads, about $1.8 million in roads were done there. Middlesex is doing Malvern and Kingston.
I appreciate that they're doing
So
Leisure Town,
they're
but
gonna do that, but the goal, what I'm trying to get at is that the township did a study. We graded roads and we're going in the order of that grade. We wouldn't do a redo of the study until 2028 is the next phase when we would do a redo.
so they gonna pave that road then, or no? We have to wait until-
It's listed in orange, so there are red designated roads that are supposed to be addressed in the next 5 years, and then we move to a new study and then reevaluate.
You're not gonna get done this year.
I can't promise you that. We are taking a science approach
Listen, I
to
lost my
this.
mirror on that road because I was avoiding a hole and I hit the mailbox instead. So, I mean, just doing these zigzags
Did you
down the
stop?
road, it's terrible. Yes, I learned a whole new language that day.
Anyone else? Dawn, you want to see if anybody on Zoom has any questions?
Public comment is open to Zoom now. Karen's Karen?
Yes, thank you. First of all, kudos on the JCP&L resolution. Anything that can be done on that front. I know that's a significant issue for a lot of residents. The increased utility prices are really making a difference in people's lives and in what they can afford and not afford, among other things. So great job there. I do want to point out that you were going to have the financial advisor explain a little more, getting back to, the presentation earlier. You were going to have the financial advisor explain a little more why it's necessary or important to maintain debt. I would have liked to have heard a little bit more about that. I think she is left, if I understand correctly.
That's correct.
Great. And the last thing I'd like to address is the perspective of the officials in this room in addressing concerns that are raised by residents, either at the meeting or to me or otherwise. I've specifically been told that I shouldn't listen to people on social media because they're just complaining, and gotten a lot of feedback when I raise these questions, raise the answers. I feel very strongly that it is the committee's responsibility to address concerns in the community. Somebody just made a good point that a lot of concerns were addressed today. That is the right thing to happen. That is the appropriate thing to happen. And I will be the first one to shout from the rooftops the answers to people's issues. But that doesn't mean that issues that people raise are an inconvenience or a problem or in any way shouldn't be addressed. People raise issues because they have concerns. It is your job to address them. So I appreciate that. I will do my part in as I said, expressing the facts as they occur. But I will not stop supporting people raising concerns that they have. Thank you.
Anyone else on Zoom?
Chief Mitchell has his hand raised, but I think we're gonna make sure we have all public comment because I think he's giving the fire department review. Anyone else on Zoom? All right, so I know we have Chief Rathjen and Chief Mitchell on Zoom. You guys can draw straws on who wants to go first to give the fire department report. I guess give it to Scott since he has his hand raised. Scott, you can unmute yourself and give your report.
Good evening, everybody. I'm broadcasting to you live from Myrtle Beach vacation. I apologize that I am not there in person. I'm going to let Tyler handle the chauffeur this evening as far as the report goes. But I just wanted to say thank you very much for everyone's hard work and the thoughtfulness of continuing to support the emergency services here in Southampton.
Enjoy your vacation, Chief.
Chief
Thank you. I'm trying.
Thank you, Chief Mitchell. Chief Rathjen?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I tried to talk earlier, it didn't work. By the way, the building was in the 1950s.
Amplifies my point.
Give me 1 second, can you guys still see me?
Yes.
All right, I had to pull up my notes. Hello, everybody. Michael Rathjen, Chief of Hampton Lakes Volunteer Fire Company. We've had a total of 52 calls from the month of July in various nature. All trucks are doing well with the exception of 2 small items on 1726 and 2 small items on 1723. Both are being attended to. Our duty crew is still going well and always looking for more certified firefighters. For the daytime stipend crew, our FEMA grant ends in March of 2027. And we are looking for ways to end up funding this program ourselves starting when the grant ends. So we're looking to come up with different ways to raise money so that we can take it over once March hits. Our first fundraiser, I touched on it last month, will be, we have the specific, a raffle for a 2026 Polaris RZR 1000. And the exact specs will be released when the proper permit is obtained. I have been working with Melanie, I apologize for the delays. My lady that helps me with all that has decided to take a vacation and she will be back very soon. We are going through the permit process now and expected to be able to start selling tickets in late September or early October is our hopes. The Polaris being raffled off is being done by the help of Mount Holly Motorsports right here in Southampton. They've been helping us with a lot, so shout out to Mount Holly Motorsports. Our Facebook is much more active than it has ever been before, and I encourage everyone to go follow the page to stay up to date with Hampton Lakes Volunteer Fire Company and real-time updates on emergencies and road closures, basically all of our events and any kind of major emergencies that expect road closures. We're on top of it for once. We're coming up to the 20th century. You can find us at, it's a weird name, Hampton Lakes Vol, V-O-L, Fire Co, C-O. And that's all I have. Thank you, and everybody stay safe.
Thanks, Chief. Tyler?
I even since got the report, was hoping that I wouldn't have to come up and talk tonight, but I guess I'll let him enjoy his vacation. Tyler Broxton, Deputy Chief, Vincent Fire Company. Over the last 30 days, we responded to 36 total incidents, 31 of them in Southampton, and 5 mutual aid responses. Much different than last month's report. We have not gone to any working fires in the last 30 days, which is a good little break because everybody got beat up pretty good on the July 4th weekend. We responded to 7 non-working fire dispatches, so something that comes in as a structure fire and turns out to be some kind of other emergency. 7 car accidents, 17 alarm systems, 1 EMS assist, 1 brush fire, 2 vehicle lockouts, 1 roadway hazard, and 1 non-fire related investigation. Like I mentioned, this month has slowed down, so we have no big notable incidents to talk about. I did want to publicly congratulate Joey Femininio and Kaylee Whirl when they were here earlier before they went back. They both have completed a 5-week EMT course this summer after Joey just finished Fire 1 in the spring. So we now have 2 new certified EMTs as of last night when they got their results, which brings us up to, I believe, 15 cross-trained members that are both firefighters and EMTs within the department. So that's all I have, unless there's any questions.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good night.
Anyone else? On that said, I will close the portion of the public comment. Ron, got anything to?
I do, Mr. Moore, thank you. I've got 3 little things. One, when you're checking the light poles, look around the municipal building, there's 5 of them out. So it's not only on Mill Street and Main Street. I've looked at them and I thought the best way to do it is to tie a ribbon on the pole so I can go back in the daylight and get the pole number.
I'll mark them, trust me.
We already reported them.
So I was looking into that myself, but I'll give you a hand.
Good, thank you, Ronald.
Okay. I got a phone call from a resident very concerned about the trees in Vincenttown. The utility company had the tree trimmers come in. I call them butchers in a bucket because boy, do they make a mess out of the trees. And now the trees, because they've come out now, almost time for them to go to sleep, but they look terrible. The county needs to bring their tree trimming people out and look at the trees in the village and do something about them. Some of the trees need to come out. Some of the trees have big branches that are now dead, overhanging on a house or onto the street or above the wires. So I think that needs to be looked at. I think the township should pressure the county. But with that said, we as a municipality, when we're paving a road, cannot touch a county bridge. In some instances, the paving company has to be 5 feet away from the bridge itself. Sometimes it's 10 feet on each side of the bridge. And the bridge is enough to throw your car out of alignment because the county does nothing to patch the bridges. And I think the township should notify the county. It's their bridges. They won't let our construction companies, when they're doing the road, touch them. Why aren't they maintaining them? And I'm actually getting tired of driving over county bridges that are in disrepair. And you got potholes past the wooden planks. We can't fill them, we can't touch them. County says you can't touch it within so many feet. Well, they ought to touch it. And I think the administration should let the county road department know things need to be done. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Elizabeth?
Okay, just a couple of things, Mayor. As usual, I've left some things over here. Because of time, I just want to mention, if you have an e-bike, and if you're over 15, there is a law in New Jersey where you have to have a license. If you're over 17, you need to have insurance, okay? I've left the information there. Maybe you don't do an e-bike, but you may have a young friend or a relative that does. So I left that. Thank you.
I don't have anything, thank you.
James?
Yeah, tomorrow night, we have our next to last concert. We have a string band tomorrow night. Again, I'd like to thank Evergreen Dairy Bar for their free ice cream and Remax across the street for a water race. 7:15, bring your own chair.
Which string band?
Gloucester City.
Gloucester City.
Gloucester City. Band.
I want to thank everyone for their attendance and their support. I do want to mention that we have approximately 15 to 18 nesting pair of purple martins at the Red Lion Park. They're about ready to take off and head to Brazil. So if you haven't seen them, go down there and take a look at them. Say adios on your trip. Thank you, folks, for coming.
Mr. Mayor, we have one small item that Mr. Morris has for executive. For an attorney-client privilege, I only expect it to last 10 minutes. So I need no action and need a motion and second to approve.
When's your next cruise? Make a motion, we go into executive session.
Committeeman Harrison?
Yes.
Committeeman Heston?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Rozell?
Yes.
Committeeman Young? Mayor Ashton?
As stated for the record, no action to be taken, 10 minutes in duration, and the item is attorney-client privilege.